"This video is about hope," she cried at work, and the businessman stopped and smiled. "If this story inspires you, please like the video, share it with loved ones, and write in the comments how it touched your heart." The bustling city of Ashford was waking up, its streets alive with the sounds of honking horns, hurried footsteps, and the faint aroma of fresh coffee wafting from cafe windows. Among the sea of faces was Clara, a junior analyst at a bustling finance firm. Each day, she navigated the towering glass buildings, feeling smaller than the shadows cast upon the pavement by the sun rising behind them. Clara had always dreamed of a vibrant career. She imagined herself making impactful financial decisions, climbing the corporate ladder, and being a beacon of empowerment for others. Yet, the reality was far from her aspirations. Overworked and underappreciated, she often felt like a cog in a machine, churning out reports that were lost in a flurry of emails. "Clara, can you get this report done by noon?" Her manager's voice broke through her thoughts, snapping her back to the present. "Just another day," she thought, forcing a smile. "Of course I'll have it ready," she replied, her voice steady even as her heart sank. By noon, the report was completed, but the emotional weight of her job had grown heavier. Clara's personal life felt like a distant memory. Friends had drifted away, swallowed by their own adult responsibilities, leaving her isolated in her high-rise office. The thought of calling her best friend, Emma, crossed her mind, but she brushed it aside, reminding herself that there would be time later. As the clock ticked closer to lunch, Clara felt an ache in her chest that she couldn't shake. At that moment, her eyes brimmed with tears, blurring her vision. She took a deep breath, hoping to collect herself. Just then, a commotion outside caught her attention, and she turned her head toward the window. A brief but intense storm had swept through the city, leaving people scrambling for cover, their umbrellas flipping inside out in the wind. The chaotic scene paralleled her tumultuous emotions, and before she could stop herself, the tears streamed down her cheeks. "Why am I so overwhelmed?" she whispered to herself, feeling vulnerable in her glass-walled office. Clara had always prided herself on her resilience, but today felt different. The weight of unfulfilled dreams pressed on her, and in that moment of despair, she felt utterly alone. Across the street, a businessman named Marcus strode confidently down the sidewalk, his tailored suit contrasting the gray skies above. His life was a whirlwind of meetings, deals, and endless to-do lists. He was known for his relentless drive and success in the tech industry, yet a gnawing emptiness gnawed at him. As he crossed the street, he noticed a woman behind the glass, eyes glistening with tears. Without thinking, Marcus paused and turned to face the building. Something about her vulnerability struck a chord in him, reminding him of his own struggles. In the corporate world, showing emotion was often perceived as weakness. Yet, Marcus felt compelled to break that mold. He approached the entrance of the building and hesitated for a moment before stepping inside. "Excuse me," he said to the receptionist. "What floor is the finance department on?" "7th floor, but—" "Thank you," he interrupted gently, making his way to the elevator. Clara was still lost in her thoughts when the elevator doors opened. She noticed the businessman standing there, a warm smile on his face. A flicker of surprise crossed her features. "Hi there," he said, stepping out of the elevator. "I saw you from across the street. Are you all right?" It was unexpected. No one had asked her that in a long time. She hesitated, unsure if she should share her vulnerabilities with a stranger. But something about his genuine concern radiated a sense of safety. I'm just feeling overwhelmed," Clara admitted, her voice softening. "It's been a tough week." Marcus nodded, understanding. "I know that feeling all too well. Sometimes the weight of our responsibilities can become too much to bear." Clara blinked in surprise. She hadn't expected this man, likely at the top of his game, to relate to her struggles. "I thought once I got this job, everything would fall into place," she confessed. "It's easy to feel that way," he replied, his gaze thoughtful. "But the reality is that life throws challenges at us, No matter where we stand, it's how we respond that defines us. Intrigued, Clara found herself leaning in. How do you respond? Marcus chuckled softly, an air of humility surrounding him. Well, I used to think success was everything. But I learned that it's the connections we make and the kindness we show that truly matter. Clara felt a spark of hope ignite within her. Do you really believe that? Absolutely, he said, his eyes gleaming. And sometimes reaching out to someone in need can change everything. You never know the impact a simple gesture can have. Clara wiped her tears with the back of her hand, inspired by his words. Thank you. I'll remember that. For the first time that day, she felt lighter. The heaviness in her heart began to ease, replaced by a sense of camaraderie. Marcus's kindness became a balm for her wounds. Would you like to grab a coffee? He asked, gesturing toward the cafe on the ground floor. I could use a break myself. Surprised by his offer, Clara hesitated. She had cultivated a habit of isolating herself, believing it would shield her from pain. But in that moment, she realized that connection might be the antidote she needed. Sure, she replied, a smile breaking through. I'd like that. As they made their way to the cafe, Clara felt a growing warmth inside her. The conversation flowed naturally, as if they had known each other for years. Marcus spoke about his journey in business, his triumphs and failures, while Clara shared her aspirations and dreams. I always wanted to work in finance to help people achieve their goals, she said, her passion igniting. But lately, it feels more like a job than a calling. Marcus listened intently, nodding. Sometimes, that passion gets buried under the pressures of daily life. But remember, it's never too late to reconnect with that purpose. His words resonated deeply with Clara. She realized that while her job had its challenges, it also held the potential for something greater. She could redefine her path, infusing her work with meaning and kindness. Days turned into weeks, and Clara found herself looking forward to her morning routine, knowing she would see Marcus during their lunch breaks. Their conversations became a safe haven for both of them, a space where they could share their thoughts, aspirations, and the realities of their lives. One afternoon, Clara slipped back into her old habit of feeling overwhelmed. The weight of deadlines loomed heavily, and she felt herself retreating into her shell. But when Marcus entered the cafe, his presence lit up the room. Hey, what's going on? You look a bit down, he said, concern lacing his voice. It's just... I feel like I'm not making any progress, Clara confessed, her voice thick with frustration. Like I'm stuck in the same place. Marcus leaned closer, his expression earnest. Stagnation is a part of growth. Sometimes, we need to reassess our goals and remember that progress isn't always linear. Easier said than done, Clara muttered, but a flicker of hope sparked within. True, but you are stronger than you think. Just take one step at a time, he encouraged. With renewed determination, Clara decided that she would no longer let fear dictate her journey. She began to embrace challenges as stepping stones, reshaping her perspective on her career. With Marcus's encouragement, Clara sought out new projects at work, volunteered for initiatives that aligned with her passions, and even reached out to Emma, reigniting their friendship. Wow. The connection she had felt with Marcus blossomed into a deeper bond as they became each other's pillars of strength. The world outside continued to bustle, but within Clara, a transformation began. She learned to find joy in small victories and embrace her vulnerabilities as essential parts of her journey. For the first time, she understood that shedding tears didn't signify weakness. It represented resilience, a release of emotions that allowed her to rise stronger. And just like that, the city of Ashford, with its shimmering skyscrapers and bustling streets, wasn't just a backdrop to her struggles. It became a canvas of possibilities, painted with the colors of her renewed spirit. It was the beginning of something beautiful, the dawning of hope, and the realization that sometimes all it takes is a kind stranger to ignite the spark within. 2. Be continued. Winter dies. As autumn descended upon Ashford, the city transformed. Golden leaves danced in the wind, swirling around Clara as she walked to work, her footsteps lighter than before. She had embraced change, inviting it into her life with open arms. With each step, she carried a newfound resolve, a desire to explore her potential beyond the confinements of her desk. In the weeks following her heartfelt conversations with Marcus, she had faced challenges with renewed courage. Her days were filled with purpose. She sought projects that aligned with her passion for finance, volunteering to help low-income families navigate financial literacy. The satisfaction brought a warmth to her heart she hadn't felt in years. One crisp morning, as Clara settled into her desk, she noticed an email notification pop up. It was from her manager, announcing a new initiative for the firm to partner with local nonprofits. Excitement bubbled within her. This was her chance to contribute meaningfully. But as she read through the details, doubts crept in. What if I'm not good enough? She murmured, her fingers trembling over the keyboard. Just then, her phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. Hey, let's grab lunch today? I have something I want to share with you. The invitation broke through her spiraling thoughts, and she replied affirmatively, eager to share her insights about the new initiative. At lunch, they chose their usual spot, a cozy cafe filled with the aroma of fresh pastries and brewed coffee. Clara's heart raced with anticipation as she recounted the details of the project. Marcus listened intently, his eyes sparkling with encouragement. You have so much to offer, Clara. This is a perfect opportunity to shine, he said, his voice warm and reassuring. Don't let self-doubt overshadow your talents. But what if I fail? Clara's voice wavered, her fear surfacing like a tide. What if my ideas aren't good enough? Failure is part of the journey, Marcus replied, leaning forward. It's how we learn and grow. Remember the first time you stepped into that office? You were scared, but look at how far you've come. His words resonated deeply, reminding Clara of her own resilience. She had faced her fears before and emerged stronger. With a deep breath, she nodded. You're right. I can't let fear hold me back anymore. Emboldened by their conversation, Clara dove into the initiative with fervor. She proposed innovative ideas during brainstorming sessions, advocating for community engagement and financial education workshops that would empower families. Her colleagues started to notice her enthusiasm, and slowly but surely, she began to carve out her place in the firm. However, as Clara embraced her role, she also faced pushback. Some colleagues doubted her capabilities, questioning her commitment. Sneering remarks surfaced during meetings. What does she know about finance for the underprivileged? Clara would smile politely, but inside, she felt the sting of their words. After one particularly disheartening meeting, she found herself at the cafe again, nursing a cup of steaming tea, feeling defeated. Marcus arrived, sensing her distress immediately. You okay? He asked, concern etched on his face. No, Clara sighed, her voice thick with frustration. I feel like I'm fighting against a wall. They don't take me seriously. People often resist change, especially if it challenges their beliefs. Marcus's tone was steady, compassionate. But remember why you're doing this. Focus on the families who need your help, not the naysayers. Clara looked up, her heart swelling with gratitude. I don't know what I'd do without you, Marcus. You always know how to lift me up. That's what friends are for. He smiled, warmth radiating from him. And you're more than capable. Keep pushing forward. You're creating a ripple effect that will inspire others. With renewed determination, Clara returned to work, her spirit reignited. She focused on building relationships with her colleagues, sharing her vision, and emphasizing the importance of compassion in finance. With each small victory, her confidence grew. Weeks turned into months, and as autumn faded into winter, Clara's initiative gained traction. The firm announced its first community workshop, and Clara stood before a room filled with eager participants, excited but nervous. She fumbled over her words at first, but as she looked into the faces of the families eager for knowledge, she felt her fears dissipate. Welcome, everyone. Today we're going to explore how to budget effectively and save for your future, she began, her voice steady. The smiles and nods of appreciation around the room ignited a fire inside her. She spent the next hour sharing her insights, answering questions, and offering practical advice. As the workshop concluded, applause erupted, and Clara's heart soared. The impact of her efforts was tangible. She had connected with her community, and it felt extraordinary. That evening, as Clara sat down with Marcus at their favorite cafe, she couldn't contain her excitement. Marcus, it was incredible. They were truly engaged, and I felt alive. I knew you could do it, he beamed, raising his cup in a celebratory toast. This is just the beginning, Clara. Keep pushing boundaries. Their bond deepened with shared laughter and encouragement, forming a strong foundation of support in their journeys. Over the months, Clara's confidence flourished. She learned to stand tall against adversity, embracing challenges as stepping stones rather than obstacles. Yet life's unpredictability soon tested Clara's resilience. One afternoon, she received a call from her mother, her voice trembling with concern. Clara's father had fallen seriously ill, and the family needed her support. The weight of the news crashed over her like a tidal wave. Mom, I'll be there, Clara assured her, her heart aching. She packed her bags and drove home, leaving behind her bustling city life for the comfort of her childhood home. Returning felt surreal. The familiar streets tugged at memories and emotions long buried. But Clara's heart was heavy, burdened by worry. She sat by her father's hospital bed, holding his hand, feeling the fragility of life envelop her. As days turned into weeks, Clara grappled with a whirlwind of emotions: fear, sadness, and uncertainty. She poured her heart into caring for her father, but the toll of the situation weighed heavily on her. One evening, sitting alone in the hospital room, tears streamed down her face. "Why does this have to happen?" she whispered, her voice cracking. In that moment of despair, she felt utterly powerless. As she wiped her tears, her phone buzzed with a message from Marcus. "Thinking of you. If you need to talk, I'm here." His unwavering support reminded her of the strength that had blossomed within her. Gathering her thoughts, she replied, "Thank you. I'm struggling, but your friendship means the world." The next day, Marcus surprised Clara with a visit. He walked into the room, bringing with him a bouquet of flowers and a warm, comforting smile. "You're not alone in this. Let's talk." Sitting beside her, he shared stories of his own family struggles, revealing his vulnerabilities with authenticity. Their connection deepened, and Clara realized how healing it was to share her fears. "I don't know what to do," she admitted, her voice trembling. "I feel so helpless." "It's okay to feel that way," Marcus reassured her, his hand resting gently on hers. "What you're feeling is natural. Just remember to take care of yourself too. You can't pour from an empty cup." His words resonated deeply, and Clara felt the weight of her emotions begin to lift. She realized that even in moments of struggle, she could find strength in vulnerability and kindness. As her father slowly recovered, Clara returned to Ashford with a renewed sense of purpose. She approached her work with a fresh perspective, understanding the importance of balance and empathy. The challenges she faced had only deepened her compassion, motivating her to create a meaningful impact. Months later, Clara stood before a room of financial professionals at a conference, ready to share her experience. "Embracing vulnerability is the key to resilience," she began, her voice strong and steady. "It's okay to ask for help, to lean on others. We're not meant to walk this journey alone." The audience listened intently as she spoke about her initiative, the impact it had on her community, and the beauty of connection. As she concluded, applause erupted. Clara felt a surge of gratitude, recognizing the power of her story, the strength of the human spirit in the face of adversity. In that moment, she understood that life's challenges were not just obstacles, but teachers shaping her into a more compassionate, resilient person. She had learned to lean on others, to embrace kindness, and to find hope even in the darkest of times. As Clara stepped off the stage, she spotted Marcus in the crowd, his smile beaming with pride. In that moment, she knew they had each other to lean on as they continued to navigate their journeys, a testament to the beauty of friendship and the strength of the human spirit. The bustling city of Ashford remained a vivid backdrop to their stories, a canvas for growth, resilience, and connection. Together, they understood that life was a tapestry woven with both struggles and triumphs, filled with threads of hope and the undeniable beauty of the human spirit. Clara stared out the window of her office on the 7th floor. The city skyline bathed in hues of orange and pink as the sun set. It was a beautiful sight, one that usually sparked inspiration within her. Yet, tonight, her heart felt heavy. As she turned back to her desk, the weight of her responsibilities loomed large. She had spent the past few months pouring herself into her initiative, advocating for financial literacy workshops that empowered families in her community. It was fulfilling work, but it came with its own set of challenges. Clara. Her manager's voice jolted her from her thoughts. "Can I see you in my office?" "Sure," Clara replied, forcing a smile as she followed him down the hall. The walls seemed to close in around her, and self-doubt crept back into her mind. What now? Once inside, her manager leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled. "I wanted to talk about your recent proposal. While the community outreach is commendable, I'm concerned about our clients' perception. Some feel it distracts from our core business." Clara clenched her fists, trying to maintain her composure. "But this initiative can help bridge the gap for families who need our support. Isn't that worth pursuing? I appreciate your passion, but we need to be cautious. Let's focus on our high-profile clients for now." His words felt like a punch to the gut. "Understood," Clara replied, her voice steady but her heart racing. As she walked back to her desk, frustration bubbled within her. Why was it so hard to foster real change? She had put her heart into this initiative, believing it could impact lives. Doubt seeped in, whispering she wasn't cut out for this work. She sank into her chair, rubbing her temples. Just then, her phone buzzed. It was a text from Marcus. "Hey, how's it going? Let's grab coffee tomorrow." Her heart lifted at the thought of seeing him. They had built a meaningful friendship, one that reminded her of the power of connection. "I'd love that," she typed back, feeling a spark of hope ignite within her. The next day, they met at their usual cafe, the cozy atmosphere wrapping Clara like a warm blanket. As she took a sip of her coffee, she felt the weight of the world begin to lift. "Hey, you look a bit stressed," Marcus said, studying her face intently. "I had a tough meeting yesterday," Clara admitted, the words spilling out before she could stop them. "They wanted to table the initiative I've been working on. They think it distracts from our main business." "That's frustrating," he replied, nodding empathetically. "But remember why you started this. You're fighting for something important." "Sometimes I wonder if I'm just wasting my time," Clara confessed, her voice thick with emotion. "What if it doesn't make a difference?" Marcus leaned forward, his eyes filled with sincerity. "You're already making a difference. Every step you take counts. Don't let anyone dim your light." Clara felt a rush of gratitude. "Thank you, Marcus. I needed to hear that." As they talked, Clara realized that Marcus had a way of grounding her, of reminding her of her purpose. The world outside continued spinning, but within their little bubble, hope flourished. The following weeks were tumultuous. Clara faced pushback from colleagues who questioned the initiative's effectiveness. Sneering remarks echoed in her mind. What does she know about finance for the underprivileged? But she was determined not to let the negativity consume her. One rainy afternoon, she found herself enveloped in doubt again, staring blankly at her computer screen. With every click, each proposal felt heavier than the last. "I can't do this," she muttered under her breath. Suddenly, her phone buzzed, pulling her from despair. It was Marcus. "Want to meet up?" I'm bringing donuts. Clara couldn't help but smile. I'm in. At the cafe, Clara picked at a donut, feeling the weight of the world upon her shoulders. I just don't know if I have what it takes anymore, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Marcus reached across the table, placing his hand over hers. You're stronger than this. Remember, challenges are what make us better, he said, his voice steady and encouraging. Each setback is an opportunity to learn and grow. But Clara shook her head, tears brimming in her eyes. What if I'm not good enough? What if I fail? Failure is part of life, Clara, Marcus replied, his gaze unwavering. But it doesn't define you. What matters is how you rise from it. Clara took a shaky breath, feeling a sense of calm wash over her. You're right. I can't let fear control my journey. With renewed determination, she returned to work with a fresh mindset. She sought to win over her colleagues, focusing on building relationships and emphasizing the initiative's purpose. Slowly, she began to see small victories. A colleague offering support, another sharing resources. However, as Clara's initiative started to gain traction, life threw her a curveball. One evening, she received a call from her mother, her voice trembling with concern. Clara's heart sank as her mother informed her that her father had been hospitalized. He needed surgery for a serious health condition. Mom, I'll be there, Clara assured her, panic rising in her chest. Driving home felt surreal. Her childhood neighborhood, once filled with carefree memories, felt foreign now. The familiar streets tugged at her heart, each turn reminding her of the fragility of life. At the hospital, her father lay in bed, frail and tired. Clara held his hand, feeling a sense of helplessness wash over her. Dad, I'm here, she whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. As days turned into weeks, Clara grappled with emotions, fear, sadness, and uncertainty. She spent every spare moment by her father's side, but the weight of the situation was crushing. One evening, she sat alone in a waiting room, tears spilling over. I don't know what to do, she whispered, feeling utterly powerless. Suddenly, her phone buzzed with a message. It was Marcus. Thinking of you. Let me know if you need to talk. Gathering her thoughts, Clara replied, Thank you. I'm struggling, but your friendship means the world. The next day, Marcus surprised Clara with a visit. He walked into the room bringing a bouquet of bright flowers and a comforting smile. You're not alone in this, he said softly. Let's talk. Sitting beside her, he shared stories of his own family struggles, revealing vulnerabilities that deepened their connection. Clara felt her heart lighten, realizing how healing it was to share her fears. I just feel so lost, she admitted, her voice shaking. I can't seem to find my footing. It's okay to feel that way, Marcus reassured her, his hand resting gently on hers. What you're experiencing is natural. You're allowed to grieve, to feel overwhelmed. His words resonated deeply, and Clara felt the burden of her emotions begin to lift. She realized that even in moments of struggle, she could find strength in vulnerability and kindness. As her father's health improved, Clara returned to Ashford, armed with a renewed sense of purpose. She approached her work with a fresh perspective, recognizing the importance of balance and compassion. The challenges she faced only deepened her resolve to make a meaningful impact. Months later, Clara stood before a room of financial professionals at a conference, ready to share her experience. Embracing vulnerability is the key to resilience, she began, her voice steady and strong. It's okay to ask for help, to lean on others. We're not meant to walk this journey alone. As she spoke about her initiative and its impact on the community, she saw nods of understanding from the audience. Clara felt a surge of gratitude, realizing the power of her story, the strength of the human spirit in the face of adversity. As she stepped off the stage, her eyes scanned the crowd until they landed on Marcus. His smile beamed with pride and warmth, filling her heart with joy. In that moment, she understood the beauty of friendship forged in resilience. The bustling city of Ashford thrived outside, a vibrant backdrop to their lives, a canvas for growth, connection, and hope. Clara and Marcus had become each other's pillars of strength, navigating life's challenges together. Somewhere in the midst of struggle and triumph, Clara learned that life was a journey, filled with both obstacles and opportunities. Each moment taught her to embrace vulnerability, to lean on others, and to find beauty in the connections forged through shared experiences. Together, they celebrated the resilience of the human spirit, ready to face whatever life threw their way. Their bond was a testament that through kindness, courage, and unwavering support, they could rise above the challenges, shining brighter together. As winter settled over Ashford, the familiar chill in the air became a constant reminder of Clara's journey. It marked a time of reflection, and the city transformed, dressed in twinkling lights and festive decorations. Yet, amidst the holiday cheer, Clara found herself grappling with a sense of uncertainty. The past few months had been a whirlwind. She had managed to navigate her father's health scare, turning her grief into a renewed purpose at work. With Marcus by her side, she had built an initiative that provided financial literacy workshops to underserved families, a mission that had blossomed amidst challenges. But now, as the year drew to a close, Clara felt the pressure of new expectations looming over her. The firm was preparing for its annual review, a time when achievements were celebrated, but shortcomings were scrutinized. And Clara feared that her initiative would be seen as a distraction rather than a triumph. "Are you ready for the meeting?" Marcus's voice broke through her train of thought as they met at their favorite cafe one frosty December morning. The smell of freshly brewed coffee and baked pastries wafted around them, a comforting backdrop to their conversation. "I'm trying to be," Clara replied, stirring her cup nervously. "But I can't shake the feeling that they'll see this as a failure." "Clara, listen to me," Marcus said, leaning closer, his expression earnest. "You've created something incredible. It's changed lives. Don't let fear drown out the impact you've made." Her heart swelled at his words, yet doubt crept in. But what if they ask hard questions? What if they don't see the value? Then it's your chance to show them, Marcus encouraged. Remember, growth often comes from discomfort. You've faced challenges before. This is just another mountain to climb. Clara nodded, feeling both comforted and invigorated. "You always know what to say." "Good friends do that," he smiled, raising his cup in a toast. "To bravery and new beginnings." As they clinked their cups together, Clara felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. With each passing day, she learned the importance of leaning on others while still standing firm in her convictions. The day of the meeting arrived, and Clara stood in front of the conference room, heart pounding. Colleagues shuffled in, the room buzzing with conversations and absent-minded chatter. She had prepared for this moment, yet every nerve in her body trembled with anticipation. Clara took a deep breath, stepping to the front of the room. "Thank you all for being here today. I'm excited to share the impact of our financial literacy initiative." As she began her presentation, she felt the familiar grip of doubt, but she pushed it aside, focusing on her passion. This initiative has empowered over 50 families to understand budgeting, saving, and investing. "We've seen firsthand how knowledge can transform lives," she said, her voice gaining strength with each word. She shared success stories, pulling from her heart, recounting how families had turned their financial situations around. Yet as she spoke, she noticed a few skeptical expressions among her colleagues. The tension in the room felt palpable, and Clara's heart raced. "I understand there are concerns about the firm's focus and resources. However, I believe we can bridge the gap between our clients and the communities we serve." A hand shot up from the back of the room. It was Mark, a senior analyst known for his critical approach. "Clara, can you explain how this initiative aligns with our core business? Some feel it detracts from our primary focus." Clara's heart sank, but she took a moment to gather her thoughts. "I believe that supporting our community enhances our reputation and builds trust with clients. Our clients value companies that give back, This initiative could be a step toward that. The murmurs grew louder, and she could feel Marcus's encouraging presence in the back of the room, silently rooting for her. She pressed on, determined to convey her message. We have the chance to lead by example and show that success isn't just about profit margins. It's about impact. Another colleague chimed in. But can we afford to divert our resources toward this right now? We're facing budget constraints. Clara felt a wave of uncertainty wash over her, but she refused to let it deter her. Investing in our community is a long-term strategy. We can start small, measure the results, and see the benefits over time. As silence fell, Clara took a breath, her heart heavy with anticipation. I know this is different, but sometimes the most valuable investments are not measured by immediate returns. They are felt in the lives we touch and the futures we shape. Finally, the room fell silent. Clara could feel the weight of her words hanging in the air. Then, to her surprise, one of the senior partners spoke up. I appreciate your passion, Clara. It's clear this means a lot to you. I suggest we set up a committee to evaluate its long-term viability. Relief washed over Clara, mingled with hope. Thank you. That would be a wonderful opportunity to explore how we can integrate this with our current efforts. The meeting concluded with a sense of cautious optimism. Clara left the conference room with a renewed spirit, feeling as if she had truly made her mark. Outside, she found Marcus waiting for her. How did it go? He asked, eyes bright with anticipation. I think they're considering it, Clara replied, her voice trembling with excitement. That's amazing, Marcus exclaimed, a grin spreading across his face. You showed them your heart today. But I still have so much to prove, Clara said, her expression shifting slightly. What if they ultimately decide against it? Then we fight harder, he said, determination flashing in his eyes. You've already ignited this spark. You can't extinguish it now. Focus on the families who need you. That's what truly matters. As winter days turned into weeks, Clara continued to pour her energy into her initiative. The firm had agreed to support a pilot program, something she had yearned for since the journey began. Each workshop was met with enthusiasm, and the impact was tangible. The gratitude she received from families filled her heart with warmth. Yet, as the pilot program progressed, Clara faced new challenges. The pressure from management to see immediate results was unyielding, and skepticism lingered among some colleagues. This is all well and good, but how do we know it's working? Mark's voice echoed in the back of her mind, a constant reminder of the doubts she had fought against. One cold afternoon, Clara found herself sitting in a cafe, staring blankly at her notes. Her heart felt heavy with the weight of expectations. What if I'm just wasting everyone's time? She thought, the thought gnawing away at her resolve. Just then, Marcus arrived, spotting her from across the room. He approached with a warm smile, sensing her turmoil. Hey, what's going on? Clara sighed, the vulnerability spilling out. I'm worried. The pressure to deliver results feels overwhelming, and I'm not sure if I'm making a real difference. Marcus sat down, concern etched on his face. It's natural to feel that way, but remember the purpose behind this initiative. You're not just chasing numbers, you're changing lives. I know, but... Clara hesitated, her voice barely a whisper. What if I fail? Failure is part of the journey. It's how we rise, how we learn, he said gently. You have to trust in what you're building. The impact may not always be immediate, but it will be lasting. She looked into his eyes, the sincerity grounding her. You always know how to help me see the bigger picture. Because I believe in you, Clara, he replied, and the warmth in his voice enveloped her like a comforting embrace. You're exactly where you're meant to be. As she left the cafe that evening, a renewed sense of purpose filled Clara's heart. The path ahead was still uncertain, but she was determined to embrace the journey. Weeks later, the pilot program concluded, and Clara stood before her colleagues once more, this time armed with real results. She presented the feedback, highlighting the families who had benefited from the workshops, the stories of empowerment, and the newfound hope that had blossomed in their lives. Change may not always be visible in numbers, Clara concluded, her voice steady. But it's in the smiles of those we help. It's in the families who now have the tools to shape their futures. As the applause filled the room, Clara felt tears prick at her eyes, not from sadness but from the realization of how far she had come. After the meeting, Mark approached her, his expression softened. "I underestimated you, Clara. This is impressive work. I apologize for my skepticism." Clara felt a sense of relief wash over her. "Thank you. It means a lot to hear that." That evening, she and Marcus celebrated at their favorite cafe. "You did it!" he said, his eyes sparkling with pride. "You turned doubt into hope." "I couldn't have done it without you," Clara replied, grateful for his unwavering support. "You showed me the strength of connection." As winter turned to spring, Clara continued to thrive in her initiative, building stronger ties within her community. The firm's commitment to the project grew, and she found joy in every moment spent helping families navigate their financial futures. But through it all,